Ready?
Sure.
Welcome back. I'm here with the wonderful Alex Lafkas. We are here in Grand Rapids today. We brought him down from Traverse City. He's going to talk about one of his little bugs he's got going on here. We're going to have his tying overlaid in it, but Alex is going to break down some really key components to this bug and what makes it kind of special and what makes it work the way it does. So, Alex, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room here first, which is the head.
Oh, the egg yarn head.
Yep.
So, egg yarn is just a little different than wool. It's a little softer material. I think it's a little easier to work with for getting kind of a little softer head. A lot of the wool you get now comes on like the bigger cords. And it's easier for me to work with the egg yarn on it. The biggest thing, it's a real basic sculpin pattern. There's not much to it. A lot of the stuff I tie when I'm tying them like that, it's always going to be the two-tone deal. Light underbelly, a little bit of olive, basically with some tan or ginger in there. I tie them in any of the natural colors, brown and tan, ginger, straight olive, black and purple. It's going to be a little different though. You're going to get a little different swim action out of it. One, because you've got the blocker head provided by the egg yarn, and also the body is weighted with lead. So I think I put 8 wraps of point. Oh, let me see.
And that's mainly because you're not doing like dumbbell eyes or bead chain or anything up front.
Yeah,
you need some weight.
I did 0.025. I did like 8 wraps of it. Now, the reason I do that is having the weight added gives it a lot better swimming motion. It'll actually kind of swim more side to side. It's a totally different action than having lead on it. Or even bead chain when it's affixed to the eye of the hook. It's a lot more swimming action to it than like your typical jig flies. So I always think it's a nice in-between that gets me the same natural profile without the hard falling action. A lot of times the reason I'm running that stuff is because of the type of water I'm fishing. If I'm not fishing fast stuff where I want things to sink and fall, but I'm fishing long casts over shallower water, a lot of times I still want that natural colored profile or natural colored bait, but I just can't fish it effectively if it's falling too hard to the bottom. So that's where the egg yarn stuff comes in. It's actually a lot of fun to fish because you do see it and it does swim pretty good and very effective, because if you have to feed your family on any trout stream, something about 3.5 to 4 inches in olive or olive and ginger, olive and tan is usually pretty much all you need.
What kind of line are you fishing these on mostly? Are you doing like your 7-weight, 6 weights? Or
it'd be a 7-weight.
Okay.
Seems like 7-weight fits the bill really good. Obviously, you're fishing with what you got. So if you got a 6, you can make it work. My only suggestion with that is to go really light wire hooks. These are the Trout Predator Lights. I believe I did a 1 and a 2 on here. It's a nice fine wire hook, got a nice hook gap to it. So that'll work. You can definitely throw them on a 6-weight. It's not an issue. I do prefer it on a 7. Seems like the 7-weight's the perfect size rod for these 3.5, 4, 4.5 inch flies. Especially if you're not putting a ton of lead on it. And then obviously you're going to mix it up based on the river you're fishing. Do you need a type 3 or a type 6? A lot of times when you look at that too, maybe the 200 grain in their type 6 line or whatever sinks a little less, because it's like I know on the Rio Premiers it's a little slower sink than the 250. So the 200 on the 7 actually works really good for that. It'd probably be a little too light on a 150 grain. It's probably more of a 2 to 2.
That's what I was going to ask you. What grain
to 250 grain weight fly.
Yeah.
Ideally, 2 to 230, something like that.
And you're fishing this like shallower rivers for the most part? Or are you doing it on your bigger rivers that you fish? Like, are you bringing this to the Asable and stuff
everywhere.
Like that? Okay.
Doesn't matter. It's more about the situation that you're in on the given river that day. If I pull into a river and it's if I've got low clear water on a river, sunny, brighter day, like, yeah, I'm going to go try to match that bottom. And a lot of times in Michigan, the olive really matches the bottom.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, there's other rivers where it's more of a ginger or butterscotch or sand color. Like if you look at the upper Manistee and the sand they have there, now you're dealing with more ginger or tan, because every piece of forage that sits on the bottom of that river is going to match the river bottom or it's going to be dead. So on the Asable, that olive is really key. The Boardman's the same way. The Muskegon's kind of the same similar substrate, colored substrate. So yeah, but that's always, when I get lower clear water, sunnier days, if I don't think I can get away with the big bait fish stuff, or that's just not what's happening, I do switch. And a lot of days, you know, even on the white down in Arkansas, it doesn't matter. Like, you start your days running the bigger baits when you think you can draw those bigger fish and get that opportunity, and they're moving around with a little bit more reckless abandon. But the second the sun gets high and they kind of nestle up into their little slots they're going to be sitting in, I do tend to do better when I go a little smaller and more natural. As far as sheer volume goes.
And yeah, and this fly doesn't have a ton of flash. I noticed that too while you're tying it. You're doing basically little, and then you're not doing a chenille in here. That's different.
Yep, just a leech yarn body, which I do on a lot of the stuff. It's super dulled down, just nothingness. The nice thing about leech yarn is it kind of builds up a body profile like if you were just using dubbing.
Okay.
It's just way quicker and easier to deal with it. So it stays real thin on the body, and it's dull as can be. So this would be like one of those flies I'd like to run in like a gin clear water situation. Sunnier day when I want to neglect the flash and even cut it off the flash if I had to. Obviously, if you're tying this for like a migratory fish, you're going to put a whole bunch more copper on there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But for, you know, for the trout I fish, usually gin clear water, I don't like, I do move away from flash.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I see a lot of your flies have, like, over the years, have just been no flash. You're not a big,
dull.
Yeah, you're not a big flash guy.
No,
and you cut down like chenille too to even get rid of it.
I've seen fish. I've probably seen it more in Arkansas, but of course you're going to see it more there because you're going to have more opportunities to see more things occur. So what you can do by seeing all of those different opportunities, you should be able to take something from that with you and apply it in areas where you don't see as much happening.
Yeah.
And what I've tended to find is big fish down there are a little bit adverse to eating flies with a ton of flash. You know, you see a big boil, they never grab the fly. You see something like, dude, it's just get away from it unless the water's dirty. If the water's dirty, a little bit of flash helps. When it's clear, man, I just have seen too much where it's like, you know, or it catches a 17 to 21 inchers, but the big one won't eat it or whatever it happens to be. It just seems like I've seen that happen so frequently that it's made myself change what I do here. You know, it's just...
You've brought that up.
Yeah, I saw it so much down there that I felt like, oh, well, this is what we got to do. Now, if the water's got artanic water, like in the spring, yeah, a little bit of flash doesn't hurt anything. But when it's clear, man, I like white marabou, don't need any flash on it. You know, if I'm fishing a minnow bait, you know, in the summer, June, whatever. But I don't know, and we're in kind of the clearest water of the year, being winter right now.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's like, yeah, no, it's as clear as it gets.
And it's been so low, which also brings the clearness even better.
And that's like, we're going on 2-3 years of this really extreme low water, which is probably a trend and is going to continue, and it's ultra low and ultra clear. So I found myself actually having more success on numbers and big fish running smaller flies. You know, like this, one of the better fish I caught this fall was on a little fly 1.5 inches long. So
there you go.
Just ultra clear, ultra sunny day, ultra low water, and you know, you're trying to match that size of your forage to the size of the river you're fishing, which in Michigan lately has been smaller than it used to be. So that's all you're doing.
Yeah, I think the other thing too you notice a lot on your flies is your colors taper really nice. I don't notice that a lot with people, or when they get into tying, they kind of botch the kind of taper to the color, and I think that's a really key point.
Yeah, it's cool. Whatever. Arts and crafts, doesn't matter. I don't know. But yeah, you know, light olive goes with tan, dark olive and black, brown and tan always go together. But yeah, it's just you're kind of keeping it in the same wheelhouse of shade, where it's not like super dark. It's just kind of more of that neutral olive and tan together.
I bet when it gets wet, it blends very well.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for. if you see a sculpin, along the bottom of the river, I just include the lighter bottom because everything has it.
Absolutely.
So it's like, and then if you see a sculpin, if you like look at a sculpin in the bottom of a river, it's like, you can barely tell it's there until you stare long enough. You're like, oh, look at that thing. And that's how everything looks. And those fish know how to see it. They know how to pick it out. If it moves, they know. So that's what you're trying to do, especially in low clear water stuff. When you're fishing like pre-spawn browns and stuff, it's a little different. They got a little more aggression. They're a little more territorial. They're eating other brown trout at that time or chasing them or whatever. But like a lot of our fish, when they're feeding, it's like, no, there's just, what do they eat? They eat a lot of sculpin, a lot of crayfish, a lot of bottom-dwelling creatures. So, I mean, is that a crayfish or a sculpin or whatever? Does it matter? No, it looks like food.
It's the same size,
yeah,
same
it's the
profile.
same size, same profile, looks like food.
Yeah. It's not super bulky because everything in Michigan has a big old head and it tapers
and
on
they all
down.
taper down.
Yeah.
So, and it's easier to cast. Like I used to tie a lot more with bunny strap, wrap bodies and stuff, and I've kind of backed off that because, it's just more load to cast. All of a sudden you do something this size with bunny strips and smaller medium lead eyes, especially mediums, you're going to want your 8-weight.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it seems like I went a lot of years fighting running the 7-weight because I knew I needed it, but there's only a few sections of river I really like running it in. And then I was like 6 and 8, 6 and 8, 6 and 8. Now I'm like, no, not going to do it anymore. So, and these are perfect flies for a 7-weight.
Do you go bigger or smaller with this pattern at all, or do you stick? So
I usually don't go much bigger.
Okay.
I just, if I'm going to go bigger, I'm going to kind of change a few things out. Like, I might go to more bunny and try to fill out the body a little bit more throughout.
Okay.
And just try to go. But no, when I'm fishing stuff like that, I'll move into other patterns as I go bigger. I kind of keep a lot of my sculpin stuff more in that 4, 4.5. Like I might go to like a 1/0 and a 1 and make it a little bit bigger. And that might be better in high water, spring, April-ish, but.
You ever do singles?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Do we fish singles together maybe?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I do these in singles too, where it's just a little short shank off the back with so it'll be about, 1.5 inches, 2 inches shorter, 1.5 inches shorter maybe.
Oh, okay.
So then you're down into that 2-inch size, 2.5-inch size.
You're doing a shank on...
just off the back of the hook.
Tied in or like with mono?
Nope, just connected with mono.
Okay.
And just run. And you can get if you want, you can get real lazy with it and just... You can tie it on a 10-millimeter shank where it's just marabou off the back. So then you're just adding that little chunk of marabou that's an inch and a half right off the back of your front hook.
Okay.
Yeah, or you could put feathers off the back too. I've tied some with just little feathers off the back, which, whatever. I don't think it matters.
No.
They look cool. Whatever.
Put it in the right spot. It's
whatever.
Gonna
They're easy to cast. Like the second you get away from the marabou and just run to the feathers with them, it's like, oh, dude, this is... I was tying one this spring that had feathers off the tail. I was tying them in white. And then a little bit of marabou wing over the top with just a little white, egg yarn head for just like a little smolty thing. And you could get it like this big, in that small size, but it still had some pretty good action.
Oh, nice.
Because of the egg head, instead of just like, so many people use that smolt stuff with just like a heavy coner, and they're just jigging it out, and this actually swam a little bit.
Yep. It works really good through shallow water.
Yeah, and it's fun, and then it's keeping it up in the column as you're starting to get in that upper 40, 50 degree water temperature, which is when more of those minnows are up higher, and you could watch it and fish it, and it's just fun.
Yeah. I think we fished on the PM, or where do we roll cast? Because I remember I think this fly being really good at roll casting on tight stuff.
Oh yeah, we were doing that with some of those.
Yeah.
I think was that this?
I can't remember where we were. Maybe it was the Boardman.
Might have been.
But I remember roll casting and having that lead throughout the body. It wasn't like you could actually flip it over. It wasn't just plummeting.
Because it's not like when you go back to roll casting, you stop that line real quick. It's not like it's falling hard like those lead eyes are taking. It just sits for a second and then you can go. Mm-hmm. And like, frankly, do I like roll casting? No. Is it necessary sometimes? Oh yeah, a lot of times in Michigan.
Yep.
So...
I mean, especially that, like, you take any river that's not
the Muskegon,
Mayo,
Tippy.
Yeah, you have to roll cast into some nooks and crannies.
Yeah, or you're dead.
Yep.
You just miss too much water.
Yeah, I mean, this fly is kind of like your all-around.
Yeah, just your Michigan getter.
Yeah.
Dude, there's guys on the Asable that tied on olive 20 years ago and still haven't taken it off. You know, it's just what it is. It's very effective, especially over there. Yeah.
Well, sweet. We appreciate you coming in. We're gonna
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're gonna go hop into his class right now. You guys kind of missed out on Alex's in-person class. You get to see him be a giant ball of sunshine.
Oh yeah, real gentleman, real professional.
But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you don't already, Alex has an awesome YouTube channel. I'm featured in it a little bit. He berades me a lot into it.
Yes.
You yell
Not
at
as
me.
much as last year because he wasn't around as much.
But it's always in fun. But check Alex out on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and for guide trips if you want to go get absolutely yelled at.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. You get it worse than any client
That's
ever
true.
would.
That's true. But no, he will whoop you into shape and make you a better angler for sure. So we appreciate you coming down, buddy.
Appreciate it.
All righty, let's go get in the class.
Yep.